was over there that I learned, no, that I did, because Mother and Dad had a place up on the lake.
Mm-hmm.
Now Dad was definitely from New Hampshire. He was born in Pittsfield. His grandfather built an awful lot of the camps and the campground at Alton that were down low.
Oh.
So when in Alton, in Loudon, somebody asked me, "Where did you come from?" I knew better than to say came up from Massachusetts. I said, "Well, Dad was born in Pittsfield."
Yeah.
There you go.
And we were accepted like that. If I had said I came from Massachusetts, they wouldn't have accepted us the 10 years we were there.
Yeah.
It's changed now.
Yeah.
I mean, we moved over to Concord in '88.
So you were born?
I was born in Massachusetts.
Whereabouts?
I was born actually in Framingham Union Hospital, but Mother and Dad were living in Hopkinton.
Oh yeah. Beginning of the marathon.
Definitely. As a matter of fact, the church that you see at
Yes.
the beginning of well, it used to be a Congregational church, and that's where I was baptized.
Oh wow.
But they sold it, and it's now Korean. It belongs to some Korean church. And they built a new one somewhere out of town.
Huh.
I don't, outside, still in Hopkinton, but it's out in the blue.
So you were raised in Massachusetts?
Sorta.
Yeah. Yeah. Did your folks come up here in the summertime?
Well,
said your grandfather.
during the war, Dad took a job in New Jersey because his eyesight was so bad that he was 4F.
Mm.
So, 3rd, 4th grade, spent in New Jersey.
Wow.
Went down the worst thing was school was over for the end of 2nd grade in Hopkinton, so we moved. Dad had already gone down. We moved. School wasn't out in New Jersey, so we got sent to school for 2 or 3 more weeks.
Wow.
Wow.
I mean,
That's the most memorable thing about that year, probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
and then the company that Dad worked for after the war in New York City got bought out and moved to Des Moines, Iowa.
Huh.
So we got moved to Des Moines, Iowa.
Really? You went?
We went. They were out there about a year when they decided, the company that bought them decided they didn't really want them. And they moved everybody back that wanted to back, well, it would have been to New Jersey, but Mother and Dad paid the rest to come back to Massachusetts. And the worst thing about Iowa, there were 2 things. The doctor told my folks that in Iowa, and we were right in Des Moines, the people don't vaccinate their kids, they only vaccinate their pigs. So we had to have all our vaccinations over again, including one for scarlet fever, which you didn't get up here. And then had the same social studies book, a different version. In 5th grade in Iowa that we had in 4th grade in New Jersey.
Huh.
Huh.
Sounds like the very beginning of fake news.
And missed, when we came back, when I was in 6th grade, I had missed a whole bunch of math stuff, long division and that sort of stuff, which apparently they taught before 6th grade in Massachusetts, but not in Iowa. But I picked that up
Yeah.
fairly fast.
Were your family always, at least when they had church, were they always Congregationalists, or?
Mother's parents were married in a Baptist church. I never could figure out what church they went to. I have no idea where Dad was brought up, but I had done a lot of genealogy. You'd be surprised at the reverends I found. And a lot of
Reverends are thick as thieves.
We are.
Yeah.
We are.
back around Kingston and because sleepers came to New Hampshire in 1640
Wow,
in Hampton, and
goodness.
and the other side of the sleepers were Hershey's or Stickneys. I don't know. They came in 1623 anyway.
Wow.
So I claim New Hampshire.
Yeah. Yeah, you should. Yeah.
But yeah, there were a lot of the clergy I found out they used to be Quakers. Now when they changed, I have no idea or why.
Wow.
Yeah, I think.
The Quakers are pretty. I know there's a Quaker church theoretically in Concord. They meet in
Yeah, Quaker
Canterbury.
meeting, yes. There's Canterbury, exactly. Yeah.
But that's about all I know about
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Bevan, who's here,
it. Yeah.
used to be a Quaker earlier in his life, and he was very involved in that meeting for a number of
I
years.
knew he was UU,
UU and UCC both.
Yeah.
He has privilege in both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but he was UU when he came here.
Right. Right. When did you start coming to First Church? Was that?
Well, we moved from Loudon to Concord in '88, and the first year we went back there, so it was '89, the fall of '89 when we started coming, and I joined in the spring of '90, along with, I can't think of his name now. He used to sing in the choir, lived up on Pennacook Street.
Oh, Carl Grant?
Yeah, Carl Green.
Yeah, yeah.
We joined the same day.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
But,
That's when Don was still there.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Don was there for a long time.
Yeah, another, yeah, you can leave
He
till
did-
97, maybe 96?
He did Chuck's funeral.
Ah, okay. Yeah. I remember Chuck, yeah.
And I can remember. I can't remember. Whether it was. And I don't rehearse for a funeral, so it had to be the rehearsal for the wedding when I made the mistake and remarried. Bill Mativia didn't show up for the rehearsal. Nobody knew where he was. And that was the time when somebody at the Concord High School had, I think, taken a roll of nickels in their hand and knocked somebody out. And they'd locked the place down.
Wow.
That was, see. Let's see, he died in '84, '85. It'll be like 97.
Wow.
I understand Bill's given up teaching.
No?
Or over at wherever.
He just moved school systems.
Yeah.
He moved
Yeah.
from down south, where
Yeah.
he was, up to
Timberland.
Moultonborough.
Oh, he's in Moultonborough.
Yeah.
Both, he's in the high school and Sandy's in the
Elementary school? I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah.
Because I saw their address was in Guilford.
Yes, they live in
Yes.
Guilford. They have a house
But
there.
to go to Moultonborough in this kind of weather's.
Yeah, if you lived in Concord, that'd be.
Yeah.
Well, even from Guilford, I mean, the easiest way to go would be straight across the lake.
You said it's not too bad.
It depends which.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, I mean, Mother and Dad had the place on the lake from, let's see, they bought it in '64, and it was '88, I think, when Dad decided to give up, and they sold it, and then leased down at Sandy Point in Alton until the year after Dad went.
Yeah, you must have had some nice times.
Oh, yeah.
You must have had some nice times there, yeah.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, my nephew, who lives in Oregon, works for a company that does things like the shelters for outside bus stops and that
Oh,
sort
yeah.
of stuff. One of his clients is the campground down there, which I knew. So, years ago now, when the the campground started burning, I emailed him and told him. He called him first thing the next day. Could not figure out how he knew. I guess by then he had told them that his grandfather, his great grandfather had built stuff up there.
Yeah.
They still couldn't figure out how he knew.
Wow.
Do you still go up to Alton sometimes in the summertime or not? No. Yeah.
This is the first year I didn't go up in the fall because for years I was collecting the Peppy Herman Christmas ornaments. And my granddaughter knew she was going to get them, and she'd been asking for them. And she decided 2 or 3 years ago that she was an atheist. So I wouldn't give her the Christmas tree ornaments. Why would an atheist want Christmas tree ornaments on? Well, they changed. She and her living lover got married this year. And they decided they were no longer atheists. They actually had, it was her mother's minister from Littleton, come down and do the ceremony in Exeter. But I found out talking to his mother that her family had been ministers in Upper New York State.
Oh.
So there had to be a little
Yeah, through the gene pool somewhere, huh?
yeah.
Religious prod.
Because I said something to her about them being atheists. She says, well, I think it had something to do with their age, but they can change. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I guess we can all change about
Yeah.
things anytime.
Yeah.
You never know.
That's why. I don't put people in my cage.
Right. Right. Yeah.
But she just about fits in there now.
Wow.
Have you heard? My friend's puppy, well, she's 6.5 months old now. She's here last weekend. And she's only up to here.
Wow. Goodness. And is that who the cage is for?
The Great Dane
wow.
puppy.
Yeah, she's a great Dane. It's his 6th Great Dane.
Wow.
We had Great Danes when I was growing up, so
You're used to them. Yeah.
I said if it wasn't for the background I had, he and I wouldn't, because not only does he have, because he had a Great Dane but he's also very active in AA, and Chuck was in AA. So
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. There's some people, I live in the part of the city where we call it the hospital road, but it's
Yeah.
the road that leads
yeah,
through the woods over to the hospital.
Yeah.
And there's, of course, many dog walkers, because you can let your dogs off in there, or at least a lot of people do. And there's one woman that walks 3 Great Danes, and she has 3 Great Danes, and they're like
at the same time.
yeah, yeah, they're all very docile, fortunately.
Oh, yeah.
And they don't leave her side much, even when they're off the leash. They're pretty well trained.
Because
Boy, they're big.
I can remember when, we had the mother and her son, they were both adults, and mother went walking, of course we lived in the boonies then, 5 miles out of town. She was walking down in the woods, and one dog went on one side of the tree and one dog went on the other.
Wow. not a pretty sight.
That's not, no.
But I mean, they were well enough behaved, so she got them back.
Yeah, well, that helps to explain the cage. I was wondering what the cage was.
It's my puppy cage.
Yeah. I have the same size cage for my 45-pound dog.
I don't know how much she weighs. I know when we brought her home Labor Day weekend, she was 16 pounds. She came back from Maine, mostly riding in my lap.
No,
Aw.
that's sweet.
She had a cage in the back seat, and you put her in it.
Yeah. Sweet.
That is sweet. Yeah. Have you ever had a pet since you've been here?
No.
No. Yeah. Now is this isn't the unit that you and your mom?
No,
lived
we
in?
were over in Heritage Heights.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
right.
We had 2 bedrooms. And when she went into lodge assisted living, I said, I want a 1 bedroom. I didn't want to keep paying for 2 bedrooms that I didn't need.
Right.
And it was when they were tearing the north end down over there. And this was the only 1 bedroom they had available. So I'm waiting for, out on the porch there, waiting for them to come down from housing to show it to me. And this guy comes out of the unit next door and he says, you're not thinking of renting that, are you? And I said, well, it's the only 1 bedroom and I need a 1 bedroom. He says, my mother-in-law lives here. You don't want to be next to her. She's nasty, she's mean, she's hard to get along with, and all these negative things. And I'm thinking, boy, he must not get along right well with his mother-in-law. And just about then, the door opens because the person in that unit had been watching and the car didn't go. And she comes out, starts to say something and says, Sylvia! And I get a great big hug. It's Betty Andrews. And Ellie's right across the street.
Oh. Yeah, you got a First Church neighborhood here.
Yeah. And now behind Ellie is Duck and Tunes. So,
Wow.
but at least, I had to move. It had somebody I knew. I mean, I knew people up in the lodge, but I didn't other than 1 couple, I didn't know anybody that was out around.
In the cottages and
And
studios, yeah.
And they were South Congo people.
Yeah. Do you do much at Havenwood with the programming and that sort of stuff? Or?
Well, I haven't since I got to the point where they do most of their stuff in the morning, and Morning and I aren't getting along very well these days.
On the phone that your days and nights are kind of
Very mixed up.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I think I had breakfast at 11:30 this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they tried giving me different sleeping pills. I don't get to sleep any faster with them, but once I'm asleep, I stay asleep.
Well, that can be important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not getting up every time, or waking up every time I turn over.
Right.
I don't like it. Like tomorrow, they insisted the ultrasound, they wanted it first thing in the morning. Well, I've talked them into 10:30. Because when she called to make the appointment, I says, well, it has to be in the afternoon. She says, it can't be, it's going to be fasting. I says, well, afternoon's morning for me.
Right.
If you sleep till noon.
But we can't do them in the afternoon. I felt like saying baloney.
Yeah.
Well, I
But
hope that
at least-
goes okay.
At least it's not all the way to the hospital, it's only Horseshoe Pond.
Oh, good. This side of
Just rolled out.
town a little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah. Good.
So I said, Horseshoe Pond, or my family doctor out on, they moved out on
East Concord?
East
Uh-huh.
Concord. So no matter how you go, you roll down the hill to the.
That's the practice that used to be at Heritage Heights, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when we were first there, people didn't know I'd come
Yeah.
from, that I'd been living in Concord. Well, who do you have for a doctor? Dr. Hayes. How did you get him? I've had him since 1981. Oh, you were in the area. But then he went and retired.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
He retired at 62, which is not, shouldn't be legal.
Finding a good doctor is hard. I totally
is
get
hard.
hear that.
No, but Social Security, because I worked in the retirement field. Social Security went in the year I was born. Okay, back then, the majority of the people did not live to 65. And it was an age they picked out of Germany. It was Germany.
Oh.
Yeah, Germany had the first
First retirement.
retirement system. The first concept of retirement was in the 19th century in the Weimar Republic in Germany.
And, well, now, think of it, how many people don't live to 65? The majority of them live to 75 or later.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I say the retirement age should be at least 70, and probably 75 wouldn't hurt. But people have got this idea that, oh, once I'm 65 I can retire, even though it's now
68?
68.
I think. Is it? Yeah.
Yeah. And then I can do all the things I want.
And then people realize they may have another 30 years.
And then
if
they realize, where on earth is all the money going to come from? If they ever stop funding or Social Security, this country's going to fall apart.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, there are so many ways that they can fix the system. I can't imagine eventually they won't be forced to fix the system. Yeah. What did you do in the retirement business? You said you were in the retirement field.
Administration and consulting on retirement plans.
Oh, through like a consulting firm kind of thing?
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
For
interesting.
12 years I was down in Bedford,
Uh-huh.
and then the rest up in here.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
it was basically Pennacook.
So-
Our building was over the 30-pound car wash.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So,
And when I was there, I said, I can remember saying something to Sheila Swenson about, I'm close enough so I could walk home, because that was when I was living in Foxcroft. And the next time she saw me, she says, Bill says don't walk home on Fisherville Road. Because that was after I had broken my leg, and I found out that it was his beat area. And so I figured he was afraid he'd have to pick me up and carry me to the hospital.
you knew that Bill had been a Concord cop.
I
yeah.
do, yeah.
Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah.
Now he's taking pictures and floating around.
Yeah.
Speaking of retirement.
Speaking of retirement. Yeah. I also know that you were, you did a number of things in church, but you were in both trustees and deacons at one time or another, were you not?
I wasn't in trustees.
You were in council.
Council, deacon, and the one that
Mission?
Mission. Yeah, I did the one that Sarah Nichols.
Yeah.
She got. She might die there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, you
loves
were a real stalwart on council during some difficult times, that's for
Yeah.
sure.
And I mean, I was on the deacons both when Dawn was there and when
David was
David was there.
Yeah.
Because I can remember nearly putting Dawn under the table. Well, there were 12 of us sitting around the table, and attendance was starting to go down. And he said, I've heard that some people are not coming to church because they don't like our dress code. Can anybody tell me what the dress code is? And everybody's looking. everybody's looking and nobody's opening their mouth. So finally I opened my mouth and said, "The only dress code I know is come clothed, don't come naked." I thought Dawn was going under the table. He started laughing but isn't that basically
Yeah,
what
I
it
think
is?
that's perfect. Yeah, I think in a nutshell, I think that's it.
Yeah. Today, even now, yeah. Just don't come naked. Yeah. Just come.
Especially this kind of weather.
Yeah,
Right.
Wouldn't be healthy.
No.
Frostbite.
It's amazing. It's really interesting to hear, though, that in 97, because you said near the end of his time,
Yeah,
It was
96, 97,
Yeah.
that even, 20 years ago,
Well, I think
attendance was starting to shift. And,
Oh, yeah.
and the reasons.
I think that
behind
was
it.
one of the reasons. I don't know for sure, but I think that was one of the reasons Don left. Was he felt that he wasn't able to get the attendance back.
Yeah, it could be part of it. I mean, it definitely had started to shift,
Yeah.
and as it was,
Across the
everywhere.
country. Yeah.
Yeah.
in that very same time period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And then during the interim, as often happens, it really plummeted, and then came back a bit with David.
Yeah, I mean the interim after Dawn. It was another David, but I can't think what his last name
Oh yeah,
was.
David Travers. He was
Travis.
there for. I missed those years. I was in Dunbarton. So.
Yeah. You were. I
uh,
mean, I was still on the board of deacons when he was there.
Yeah.
And I can remember us trying to tell him to cool it on the sermons, because his sermons used to go 45 minutes.
Really. Yeah.
And-
I wasn't there much during
No.
that time.
And one time, we were talking about it, and one time one of the deacons who was a nurse, not Sheila Swenson, said something about the mind can absorb only what the bladder can hold. And he says, his answer was, well, if somebody needs to go to the bathroom, they know how to get there. Sorry, that wasn't what we were trying. And I mentioned it to the person that said it a few years ago, and she couldn't remember.
Having
But
said it.
I still. But she said that does sound like something I could have said.
Well, one of the things we usually ask folks when we talk to them is whether you have any, I don't know, wisdom, hopes for the church, as we are now at this point in our life, of our very long life.
To see it continue, and I know it's a problem everywhere. See the young people come back. I mentioned my granddaughter, but my grandson.
Yeah.
When they were in little day, he used to help out in the nursery and stuff, and that sort of turned him off because they were paying him a slight thing to help in the nursery. I think it was a whopping $6 a month. Okay, and one day the new minister's wife came in and says, "We don't need you anymore. Get out." And that didn't go over too well.
Not so welcoming to a young person.
Yeah, I mean,
anybody for that matter.
Right. Well, yeah.
He was 13, 14 at the
No.
time.
Yeah.
And then, because they lived in Bethlehem, the church in Bethlehem is Methodist. And it still has problems. But they hired him to do the steps to the church after snowstorms. And it was 3 snowstorms in a row, got up there before time for the school bus to do the steps and found somebody else had already shoveled them so they wouldn't pay him, for a kid that age.
Mm.
That didn't go over, so he got turned off by churches. His father has talked to him because he got married a year ago, August of 16, and told him, if you have children, you've got to bring them up in a church. I don't care what church it is. I don't even know what religion, if any, his wife is, because they had, his sister got her JP to do the service, and her mother,
More and more common.
her mother was divorced and she remarried before they did, and I heard the wedding was going on, and I said, well, they can't be a very religious family because the wedding was in the middle of Lent. I said that to my son, and he says, what do you mean? I said, well, most churches just don't do weddings during Lent.
Well, most folks that we've talked to
But
mourn that there aren't more people, and especially that there aren't more
young people, that's it.
Right.
Well, people my age, we're not going to be around much longer. I mean, the young people, God. A part of it started, in my opinion, when parents refused to tell the school system, you can have rehearsal practice on Sunday morning if you want, but my kid won't be there. And that's when they started, because...
Well, we're also really in maybe the most secular part of the country. I think Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine they always go back and forth, like which are the least church states in the country. In the South, most places still don't do much on Sunday mornings except for church. But I also think if you get a chance, if you haven't seen it yet, Amelia had a really good, really thought-provoking column in the latest North Star about the idea of, like, at some point, does a church like ours consider being a legacy church, where we consider that it might need to reform somehow to be more appropriate for a younger generation.
I'd like to find out, but I don't want to go back to Massachusetts. The church I belong to there, in doing the ancestry, I found out some old ancestors went there too. How they're doing, because they had their 300th anniversary in 1966.
Wow. 300th anniversary. Yeah, so we're talking 1600s. Yeah. Wow.
Goodness.
And
You think we're old?
Spring chickens.
Yeah.
And then the other churches went off from there, but I don't know anybody back there anymore.
Yeah.
The one person I kept in touch with was the secretary of my high school class, and she died almost 2 years ago. So I have a feeling, even though it's a 65th anniversary coming up this year, I have a feeling we will not be having a class reunion.
Yeah.
What does that seem like to be coming up on your 65th anniversary?
It's just another class anniversary where you get to see who's still around. It was interesting on our 50th class anniversary, because we were a class of 109. In the 50th, only 11 people had died.
Wow.
But they've been going faster since then.
Yeah.
Well,
But-
we
But I don't know with the way the whole structure of society is going, what's going to happen? Not only to our church, but
oh yeah.
to church in
In
general.
general.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I
Yeah.
think that's right. That's why it's, as Amelia and others have said, it's sort of hinge time. This time we don't, it's so much mystery. We don't know we have faith that
Yeah.
something will happen from God and the Holy Spirit,
It's-
but what it is,
Yeah.
we don't know.
And I can remember it was when David Travis was there, and the conference had, I think, 3 ministers,
Uh-huh.
and one of them was female.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Carol Carlson, Carol Carlson?
Something along that idea.
Yeah.
And she was at our church one time, and she said that she could see within 25 years South and First merging.
Mm.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I know it's been mentioned, but I don't know if that's would ever work.
Well, and it's certainly been mentioned that all 4 churches merge back
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
There are 4 UCC churches
Yeah.
in a town of 45,000 people.
Right. It's
Yeah.
not.
If you added up the membership of all 4, it still wouldn't be enormous. I mean,
No.
No, I
No,
think at
sure.
most you'd still be dealing with maybe 350
Yeah,
at the
No.
most.
yeah, right.
I don't
Which
know.
is what we used to
South-
have in our church.
Yeah.
South is pretty good size, I think.
My guess is they have maybe 200 members.
Oh, I thought it
Uh,
was higher,
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes,
yeah.
it was.
because I had
Yeah.
heard about 400.
Yeah. And my deep thought is if that was ever to happen, it can't be in any of the current buildings.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it will never work because
Yeah.
one church will always have felt like they
Right.
won or
Yeah.
you know, yeah.
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 Yes.
The others will feel like they lost.
Exactly, which is not conducive to building a new community.
No,
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah.
No, and then,
Yeah.
well, that would be, I mean, then it could be built in a way that takes into account whatever the ministries are that need to happen.
Right. And just think, we could call it 4 Directions UCC.
Right.
Yeah. But who would be behind really the ones pushing to get it done? Would it be the pastors of the churches? Would it be the conference? Would it be the congregants?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not happening right now, but
Nope.
before long, something's
Something's
Yeah.
going to have to give.
Yeah. Amen.
Yeah, well, that's where this sacred spaces idea that
Yes.
you all was talked about last week. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can remember when David knew that East and West had no secretarial help.
Mm,
And he was trying to get them to
the sheriff secretary.
share a secretary with us, because at that time we had the one that caused the problem.
Yeah, I forget her name.
She lived down in Hooksett. The one that lived in Hooksett, we'll call her that. And she was still full-time. And she needed something to do.
Interesting.
Yeah, but that I don't know what they're doing now. Probably they're still.
A lot of churches have now, more and more churches have volunteer
Yeah.
or very, very, very part-time secretaries.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Oh, I think that's what
the
they.
churches that when I first got to New Hampshire, the churches that I served had voluntary secretaries, and the minister did a lot of it. I did a lot of it.
I think that I think the church I went to in Massachusetts, Marlborough, we had a secretary, but I'm pretty sure she was volunteer
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
back then.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
And that was starting in the 40s.
Right.
Mid-40s.
Okay.
Till we left, I left there in 78.
Wow.
Still had the same secretary.
Wow.
Changed pastors. Let's see, the first one died mowing his lawn.
It happens.
So don't be mowing your
Or
lawn.
riding your horse. I mean, that's how Timothy Walker died, riding his
right.
horse, you know. Yeah.
The next one went to New York. And I don't know what happened to I know the one that was there when I left afterwards, but I have no idea why.
Everybody comes to that time in their
Yeah.
own reason.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to have to stop because I've got another